Mortal Kombat gave something concrete for players to get excited for, and then added ancillary support on top of that with like a RPG mode and while people were expecting the world from Starfield and they got bombarded with invisible walls. Hey, what's up everybody? Thank you for clicking on this video. Please hit that like button and that subscribe button. It really helped the channel out a lot. And let's get straight to it. Hope you enjoy. Sometimes when popular stuff in media gets popular and stays that way for a cool little minute, sometimes companies like to rebrand it as if something about this really popular thing is changing. But very rarely is anything actually different. All of my Call of Duty fans out there are constant victims of this classic rug pull. Not people playing Mortal Kombat 1 right now. Yeah, sure, a lot of things changed, but what was really different about this game is that everything that NetherRealm added to this game to make it go crazy. And the first thing is Invasion mode, which is an action RPG board game type mode that they added into the game, which we will get to later. But hold on though, we gotta sit on that for a second because what I just said sounded a lot like single player Mortal Kombat 1. Single player. Mortal Kombat has constantly been a two-player game at least. Sure, you could play the computer, but who really wants to play the computer? And now there's a little bit more of a worthwhile reason to play the game by yourself. Anyways, a new addition is the cameo fighters. Something familiar to the fighting game scene, but not as familiar to Mortal Kombat especially. Another new thing, John Cena is a playable character in Mortal Kombat. Yes, the series rebooted. For everyone who chooses not to buy Mortal Kombat at full price because all it is the classic 2D fighter we've seen, NetherRealm and Warner Brothers throw otherworldly, no pun intended, stuff at us like an RPG board game to mix us up. Mortal Kombat 1 was announced back in May of this year, a considerably less allotted time for hype to build up than another game that may have released this month. But another Mortal Kombat series reboot was alluded to at the end of Mortal Kombat 11. I mean, who else but Liu Kang becomes a god and also becomes the Keeper of Time, which kind of, sets up Mortal Kombat 1 in a weird way, but a very canonical way. We all love hyping up things, and sometimes we all love overhyping some things. I mean, hope is a life-giving substance. Trust me, I hope for a lot of things. I mean, I hope you hit that subscribe button and that notification bell, But anyways, hype is always surrounding us. Just look everywhere else in the world right now. In sports, a basketball prodigy who's 7'5" and can dribble the basketball, Victor Wembanyama, is being hyped up for this upcoming NBA season. In technology, NVIDIA's coming out with an H100 GPU with 80 gigabytes of RAM that is retailing right now at $40,000. Even in Hollywood, we see a whole bunch of movies being hyped up like MCU Spider-Man 4 with Tom Holland, or Barbie and Oppenheimer was just being hyped up for months when that released earlier. But there's multiple ways about going about hype. And maybe, just maybe, there was too much hype built up for Starfield? Starfield, for all intents and purposes, is probably a better game than Mortal Kombat 1 in terms of development time, in terms of budget, in terms of man hours on the product. But Mortal Kombat is going to end up being the better release for this month. And why is that, you may ask? Mortal Kombat gave something concrete for players to get excited for, and then added ancillary support on top of that with like a RPG mode and shit. While people were expecting the world from Starfield and they got bombarded with invisible walls. It's unfortunate. First things first, people play Mortal Kombat for the boxing. Of course, there's individual modes like the tower mode and it goes against computers and everything, but that kind of reminds me of like the campaign mode from COD. It's always there, it's always got care and put in, and there's always a section of the gameplay of players that play those modes, but it's not really the main reason as to why people buy the game in the first place. But that changes in every way for this game. I mean, the story is what's reeling people in. How much better is it that this is Mortal Kombat 1 instead of Mortal Kombat 12? That title alone brings mysterious ambiguity about not only this game, but for the future of the series. And the title is not the only first when it comes to this game. Some of the DLC fighters are first to the Mortal Kombat series. The secondary fighter system, like I said before, is not new to fighting games in general, but it is new to Mortal Kombat. An older classic series is adding something new to it to kind of make it fresh for everybody. We've seen Street Fighter do that same exact thing, and that's why people still play Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter. And Invasion mode is not some little, thing that they just added in at the end to make people happy. I mean, they are really focusing a lot on this. It will be seasonal. Just like Call of Duty and Fortnite and all the games that are apparently seasonal now, this mode will be seasonal. There will be upgraded characters, special moves for those upgraded characters, talismans to upgrade your character. Certain mini games are going to be in there, like the classic Test Your Might, and there will also be story mode content in this mode that will be narrated by none other than Johnny Cage. And yeah, basically it's going to have everything in there. There's going to be callbacks to the series, callbacks to older locations that weren't in this game. Every game right now that has online capabilities seems to have some seasonal system attached to it, but this is the game that I feel like it really needed one. The reason why I say this is, unlike, you know, Call of Duty or some of the other games that have seasons, this game isn't going to come out every year. And what it seems like is that this game is a skeleton for a whole lot more content to be added onto it at the whimsy of the developers. There is a lot coming in the box with you once you take on Mortal Kombat 1. But we couldn't talk about all the new Mortal Kombat content that's being added without referencing all the stuff that's being nixed. There are 24 fighters plus the 6 DLC fighters, so a lot of fighters will be missing, as with every other Mortal Kombat game that comes out. You gotta remember that this is a timeline reboot, so fighters like Jax, Sonya, Jade will not be part of the main cast of usable fighters, and some of which, like Jax and Sonya, are gonna be cameo fighters, but I doubt that Jax users like me are gonna be content with seeing him for like 4/10 of a second doing an animation. So yeah, some of the series staples that were in some of the newer games and didn't get introduced first are not going to be in this game, but they will be in the game as cameo fighters. Do they come in later? I don't know. They could, but I wouldn't count on it. A lot of fighters will be missing, but let's be fair. There are a total of 77 Mortal Kombat fighters in the Mortal Kombat universe, and the fact that there's only 24 in the game means that, if my math is checking out, there's gonna be a whole lot of people that's gonna need a new main. Unless you use Liu Kang, Scorpion, Sub-Zero, Raiden, because they're always going to be in the game. But who wants to main those guys? They're always in the game. Try something new every once in a while. The series creator Ed Boon actually talked about this, as he talks about it with every Mortal Kombat that comes out, because every Mortal Kombat that comes out nixes a whole bunch of Mortal Kombat fighters, except for Mortal Kombat 1. He said, we always have Scorpion, Sub-Zero, Liu Kang, Raiden, Kitana, Milena, so we always want some characters to have a break. With starting over with Mortal Kombat 1 from the beginning, one of our goals was to have that surprise factor. Oh, I haven't seen Li Mei in forever. I haven't seen this character in forever. And I couldn't have said it any better. If this is a series reboot, it's a series reboot. Treat it that way. It's kind of like how a main character may die in a show or in a movie, but then he comes back. You know, it's kind of weird. It's like a wasting of an emotional feeling. It's like if the dude's dead, he's dead. Leave him behind. Me personally, I've always grown up playing fighters. My first fighter, actually, one of my first video games ever was, yes, Super Smash Bros. But my first fighter was Killer Instinct. But I did play some Mortal Kombat, but my first fighter was Killer Instinct. So it's safe to say that I was pretty used to the gore. When Mortal Kombat X, though, it came out, I was in like elementary school when it came out, and my friend had actually gotten like a video game bus where it was just a bus with a bunch of video games on it. You may have seen one of them. It just has like an Xbox in there, it had like a Nintendo Switch in there, and like a PlayStation. And it had to be like 6 or 7 fifth graders in there playing video games. So one of the games that I was playing with my mans was Mortal Kombat X, a very gory game, if you haven't picked up on that yet. But one of the other kids was sitting next to me playing Super Smash Brothers. He didn't see what we was doing, and he said, hey, let me run the sticks on Mortal Kombat. I use Jax. I've been using Jax for a long time, so I don't know why I flamed y'all for using the same characters, because I always use Jax. And not gonna lie, I mixed them up. But the way I mixed them up, it showed the x-rays of all the bone smashing and everything. His face was mortified. He had never played a Mortal Kombat game in his life, and that was his first experience getting mixed up after he hopped in the paint with me. He literally put down the sticks and said, I'm gonna go back to Super Smash Brothers. And not gonna lie, that made me feel good, and I stayed on Mortal Kombat for the rest of that party. Oh, the old classic of the Nintendo kid coming over to the Mortal Kombat side and seeing some gruesome fatalities and going back to Smash Bros. It was a good day for all the gamers then. But hey, that was my little story on Mortal Kombat. This is everything on Mortal Kombat. Mortal Kombat is going to be the better release of September, which I cannot believe that I'm saying that, but it is. I'm not hating on Starfield. It's not a bad game. Starfield is objectively not a bad game, but it's also objectively not what we expected. And it's probably not the expected result that Xbox was looking for. And who knows where they go next from here. Don't hate on me in the comments. I like Starfield. I like Starfield, but that's why I'm saying this, is because I just like it. I like it. Which is pretty crazy because I was building a whole computer just to play Starfield. Because I was expecting it to be an 11 out of 10 game, but you know, it's not exactly that. It's not even a consensus 9 out of 10 game. But that's enough of that because Starfield has caught enough flack for not even being a bad game in itself. But it's caught enough slack. Welcome to the Bread Show. You're leaving the Bread Show, but you don't gotta leave the Bread Show because there's a whole lot more Bread Show where that is coming from. If you're watching this, if you've been watching for this long, I guarantee you're gonna like all of my other content. I post a lot of stuff like this and I will be back next week. I'm always back in the following weeks. I got some great collab videos coming out. We got Among Us, Pico Park, Overcooked, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Me and the guys been hopping on the game, so y'all should check that out. But yeah, spread love, give inspiration in all you do, and peace out.
Welcome to the Bread Show. Take 2.
All right, bro. Let's make this a great recording. Let's make this a great recording.